Hi and welcome to this week's video. Another week with progress, not particularly a lot of visual progress. Painting first coats inside the cockpit on the areas I haven't painted before, still got the floor to do, and varnishing the back end of the airframe. I'm not going to show you a video of that, so there'll be just a few little bits and pieces of interest points for you to look at. So, catch you in the video. Hopefully you can see, here's the cubby hole, the side of the cubby hole, and going along the sort of framework, a series of blocks, and up there on the floor section, most of them are in now for this side of the aircraft. We'll turn it over and do the other side when it comes to it. But those are all there for the wiring supports, as discussed in the last video before I went on holiday. With the blocks in and cured, the first coat across the inside, just about everything has had its first coat on this side now. Just got some finishing to do on the longerons, and I need to remove the cabane struts so I can actually do the upper section of the longerons, and I'm not doing that until I've got the side pieces sorted out. I'll turn her over hopefully and get a coat onto the other side after I've put the last of the blocks in. Here we go, the glamour of making blocks for the P-clips to hold the wiring on. So I'm adding that strength. I'm drilling a hole into a structural member, so I'm going to add that bit of strength, as we've talked about in the past. So I'm making up these blocks. So the monotonous task of just sanding these things around and creating them. Of course, this is not a necessary step. I could have just left them square edged, but it's inside the cockpit, seen or could be seen. I don't want to get caught on anything, so I'm just going through. As you can see, it doesn't take an awful lot of time to do it, but it is monotonous. Right, I've only got another 8 or so to go. Well, there are some of those blocks which I made up there, and going along there will be some more to go on the floor about there to this side, for power from the battery terminals and isolation, but they'll be coming down and then going up this sort of section here. So they won't be done for just now. They'll be done later when I have the whole thing upright. I'm going to paint this side same as I did the other side of the cockpit, a little bit more down the bottom end of the firewall. I have been varnishing the whole of the inside of the fuselage. You can sort of see that the varnish is not quite gone off yet. So the whole inside of the fuselage section here has been varnished, right up to the centre line stringers. So when I turn it over again, I'll just finish off those bits, but the sort of box areas. It's had 2 coats of varnish, one thinned and one full strength. So it's got enough protection. It will need to have a light sanding on the areas where the covering is going to go before the covering adhesive is applied to that. That's a requirement for the Oratex, but generally it's been done. It had a slight sanding between the thin coat and the full strength coat. Well, as I say, when I turn it over, I will I'll do the inside of this side, and that the outsides haven't been done yet because I've got to put stringers on. There's all sorts of various other bits and pieces that have got to be glued in place. For those of you who are asking what will I be using, I'm using this stuff, the Ronseal Clear Outdoor water-based polyurethane. Well, there's the second side of the cockpit with its first coat of paint, and the firewall. So the last part of the firewall had its coat of paint on it. All this lot will need to be sanded back, smoothed, you know, to get rid of all the little pimples and debris and stuff. But when you do this, it's all one colour. You spot little bits like there's a little pimple of glue there that shouldn't be there. All these little things like that you see. So I'll clean those up, sand this lot down, but I won't be sanding this down for a few weeks. It takes a time for this to really dry thoroughly enough so you can actually sand it effectively, about a week or so. And then I could paint it again, but I'm not going to do that until I've sorted out the arch section going around there, filled in all the bits around the cabanes, got the forward section mounting points put on, the longeron, and then I can actually take the cabanes off again and then paint up all that area so that it's done, and things can go in, or paint up that area, let it dry, and then I can sand it, do the whole thing, the whole cockpit in one go, and you know, things can then go in and stay in and be actually screwed into place. I can start putting in the little inserts and things for all the P-clips. But before I can do that, I need to work out the battery mounting and the battery master solenoid fitment, which is going to go just in front of the control column there. So lots of little bits to do, but once that's done, I can literally get the control column fitted and stay in there, hopefully. We'll see. Other jobs which are ongoing are the repetitive tasks of boring holes in this piece of metal to produce these, which will be put onto the lathe, turned so that they're all exactly the right size. This is prep work for the engine standoff mountings. You know, drill with a cutting piece in at its lowest speed I can do to drill this little lot, get these cut. I need to make up 8, so I'll probably make up 10 or 9 anyway, so I've got a spare, and I'll turn all these to the right external diameter set on the what's it, the actual drawing. I'll show you. Here we go, I'll get it the right way up for you. So I'll get it to that size there. I've got the thickness of material there, I've got the right tube, so I can do the welding, although my engine mounts will be completely different. This is to be welded onto a spider frame sort of setup, but the idea is already there, so I can get that a lot done. More strange stuff. I'm not going to show you me drilling holes. There's nothing particularly exciting about that. Well, there's the stack of washers cut. You can sort of see I've got the rough old edges from where, you know, the cutter sheared them out of the sheet before it got all the way through. So that's all going to be turned down now on the lathe just to get it to the right diameter. So there we have it. I've turned down those washers down to 26 millimeters rather than the 25.4. It's not super critical. That extra little bit of width will be no real consequence at all, I would say. Each of these washers will be taken off and put in on a bolt into the pillar drill, just so I can just take off the very corners. I don't want a really sharp corner, and then I'll have to drill them out to the right size for the tube to go into, and then it'll need to be countersunk on one side nearly all the way through, so that I've got the weld bridge to weld into that V, and I'll build up a weld. But that's all for another day. Whether that be in the next video or the one after, I don't know. I've got to make up a jig for holding the tube and the washer so it's square, so I can actually weld it on at the right distances. Well, that's it for this week. As I said, not a hugely exciting video to look at, but it's all progress, so there might be one or two tips that you get out of it. Hopefully moving forward we'll get a bit further on with the engine mounts, which need to be sorted, and get onto this this top scuttle area that needs to be built up. So hopefully you'll all keep fit and well, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye now.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.